Thank you everyone for joining me today. This is Nichel Anderson. I'm your host for my podcast show, Nichel Anderson Short Stories and Beyond. So I want to go ahead and start my show by saying, of course, thank you for joining me today. And today's podcast is going to be focusing on the Orions and the tribal leaders as I get ready to return back to my short stories. Next month would be May, and that's the month that I roll out and do the finales of my podcast shows before I go on my summer break, which is from June to the end of August, and then I'll return back in September for a brand new season, which would be my 5th season. So without further ado, let's go ahead and touch on a couple of things, and then we'll get into this discussion that I'm having. The last episode that I released was regarding King Mahlon and the tribal leaders, where I talked about King Mahlon and the tribal leaders and that time period. Go check that out. I kind of recapture the background and where we are now. So when I do return back to my short stories starting next month in May, you can be able to get more connected to the stories, especially if you're new to my saga of MOLIAE, which is from my book, Mitsrayim, a Memoir of a Past Life in Ancient Egypt. By the way, if you purchase that book, please go to Amazon. Help a sister out. If you love it and you know you love my stories, go ahead and leave a review, leave a positive one. There is, sometimes, even though you don't have to like everything in life, but you be nice about it. And when you're not nice about it, you kind of show your, I'm gonna be real, jealousy or envy or something like that. And it makes you not an attractive type human being. And so on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or any other place, be proactive about it. And if you really like it, thank you. Please give me a high score. And if you're the other side, like, it is, you have that right to be, but you be nice about it. When you're not, and you're throwing darts and all in words, because I'm a master of words, I'm gonna let that marinate for a while. You kind of come off pretty much showing that there's an internal reason of why you're attacking a project that I didn't really knew that I was destined to write, and I did. And it moved and it encouraged and enlightened a lot of people, that you could read some of those reviews and understand what the sections that you didn't get in my book, even though now you go to Barnes & Noble, you can't find those reviews, but that's another story. Nonetheless, but if you read my book and you saw some of my productions that I have done, go and support a sister and go to Barnes & Noble and get me a good score over there and do a good review, talk about it. And as well as Amazon, if you don't mind going over there and give me a good review and talk about it. All right. And if you don't, like I just said, don't be a hate. You know where I'm going, but let's move forward. All right. So here we go. The Orions. They was in my book when I wrote the timeline in Princess Aamina. And they something, okay? They have been in and out of different of my productions that I did. And by the way, just to recap on that, it was never supposed to be a stage play. I was led wrong, but nonetheless, I'm back on track and I'm focusing on it to be a movie, a feature movie that has never been done, of my book, Mitsrayim, a Memoir of a Past Life in Ancient Egypt, my journal, okay? And the Orions, they are something sneaky, dominant leaders of a whole bunch of stuff. And they work their way into the different tribal leaders that, if you listen to my last podcast, these are like, you can call them like presidents of these countries and the Sudan, which we call Africa now. And they merge their way to promise them more wealth, or to get some wealth, or influence, power, all of that stuff. And some of them betrayed the other tribe. And you created this friction. And there when you come into my timeline, when I started this podcast, before the time of Princess Aamina, in the sense that King Mahlon is heavy on the scene. And they betrayed those that followed King Mahlon and sided with the Orions. Now, who are the Orions? And in my book, I kind of talk about star constellations and stuff like that. So that kind of rolls into that, right? Not to go too deep in the sense of those tombs, but they had the technology and the awareness of what was to be in the future, and they used that knowledge and influenced the tribal leaders to turn against the primary objective, to live amongst your neighbors. That's deep, but it's real. And we have these particular characters. When I did season 1, I encourage you to go and check out season 1. And since I'm now on Podbean, and by the way, if you're following me, can you follow me on Podbean? Can you just click follow? Even though you are listening to me on iHeart or any other platform, just go to Podbean so I can see it and just say, I'm going to follow Nichel. I've been following her and getting all these goodies of stories. And storytelling is a way of cooking a good Sunday meal, as we say here in the States. And you're sitting down and eating out and cook this whole 7-course meal, have the best, something that you can drink, lemonade, tea, whatever you want is there. The best dessert. And you get up and you say, I really like this. I really love this. And you get up and leave. Okay. And that goes on for a while. Right? Holidays come, I don't get no card. And it would just be nice if you could just click follow. And if you could just share it. Like, y'all, listen, y'all got to tune into this podcast. Right? Nichel is releasing it and she is on top of it and da-da-da. And I enjoy it. Follow. Okay? And follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and sign up on our newsletter by going to MOLIAE.com. Now I got that bit out of the way. Also, we got t-shirts, but I'm moving forward. Here we go. I love y'all. I don't know why I feel like the ones that are listening, that are tuned in to this show, is my soul family. I miss y'all. Ooh, the journey. Moving forward. I gave y'all a big hug. Y'all gave me a hug back. I love you. So as we look forward to this, the Orions, season 1, you got to get to season 1, and you are introduced to Echo, and then you have these other two, Natu. Natu was in season 1. He always came through when I was about to write this scene that I kept seeing through the eyes of Queen Hagar. Is that Natu was an old type soul, a military leader. He loved the military. He just loved it. And so you have that back and forth dominance by questioning Hagar, and Hagar put it on him like, yes, I am the leader. Deal with it. And then you fast forward to the confrontation with the Orions, where you have Echo, you have Natu, and you have Lanko. Lanko doesn't like Natu. These are the Orions, and they're meeting in this cave. This is all in season 1. And they have this alliance already. Natu is a sneaky little or something Orion. And he actually has developed a friendship with Ontu. Right, a tribal leader on the west coast. If I had to pick where, I'd say somewhere around Nigeria today. And they form this alliance that he tells them, look, we found something that's going to put you above Echo amongst your leaders. Natu says, okay, show me. Sure enough, it is what he think it is, and it is gold. Fast forward, guess who it was? General Tucson. That scene, man, that episode, you gotta find it. General Tucson speaks truth. I believe that was episode season 3. Nonetheless, we finally found out who is this mystery thing that one of the tribal leaders was befriending Natu. Because if we go back in the beginning of the timeline of season 1 forward, is that you have Echo that has been designated from the leaders in the Orion star constellations to lead this objective. This basically is against Mitsrayim. Because remember, Mitsrayim, ancient Egypt, Kemet, right, was the place of the central component of the knowledge that was bestowed upon those kings that were born, that was designated by God. These can be kings here, King Mahlon is in that lineage, in that seed there. And so we have the Orions that has taken hold in a little territory southwest of Africa, made some contacts with some tribal leaders, and want to be able to form a bigger empire in that area that can go against Mitsrayim and take that knowledge and so forth, and something else that they keep talking about. And if you haven't been following me, you got to go back and look at those episodes, season 1, 2, and 3, and going on to 4, where I'm talking about the star. So with that, Echo get hurt by who? King Mahlon. He got up, man. He got up. And most of the time, like I said in my last episode, when I have like a male, what have you, that wants to read for the characters, I want to be King Mahlon. Where can I read for King Mahlon? I want the top row. That's King Mahlon. Anyway, so yes, we have Echo. He get hurt because King Mahlon, that is a, y'all got to listen. I have a video clip. I was doing like video clips with audios when I got so busy. So most is audio, but you definitely have to go check out the YouTube. That's another thing I keep forgetting. I really have to make a list here. I really do. I'd be so, interested in doing the podcast. I really got to hone and promote my social platforms. youtube.com/MOLIAE. Please subscribe and share that as well. If you go there, you'll see that video clip with that finale, King Mahlon, where he get the confrontation with Echo. that was the seed that started all of that betrayal that led to the battle, to the war against Egypt, that King Mahlon got hurt, where he got well, and he looked at Marvelous with his wife coming up in there and saying, hey, guess what, I still rise. And King Mahlon ain't playing. King Mahlon ain't playing. And then Queen Hagar, she ain't playing. So you got to check that out. And so the tribal leaders, with the Orions, is talking about those that are in alliance with the together. So fast forward into my seasons, we find out that Echo is missing. He's hurt. And he's not going to make it off the planet Tamad. But we have his general that's over him, a high rank official. They call him Hani. He makes the call without informing the other seniors and elders, and debark to Tamad to find his friend. He finds him. Before that, though, he runs into another person that could say that he's underneath like a tribal leader. The episode, I think I'm calling it, it was last year, I believe, season 3. You have to check that out, where Hani finds a new path, right? When you say Hani, Hanee, when you see that, then you know that's the episode I'm talking about. It was in fall, during September or October, but nonetheless, I believe it was definitely season 3. And he debarks out of this dome, and he's looking for his friend, the last known connection that they had, and know that something happened, because Natu is nowhere to be found. They calling him, and he ain't answering no type of telephone at all. He didn't set up his kingdom on the east coast of Africa, down there in Zimbabwe, that I bring around my book, and he is just like, why am I going back? I can be kingship up here. As soon as I deal with Egypt, as soon as I deal with Mitsrayim, which is basically, Mitsrayim is what? King Mahlon, right? And his family. From the beginning of time, when they designated Mitsrayim, you would be this and you would be that of an empire, okay? And so Natu just, he grabbing people, and tribal leaders down there like, heck yeah, this is where the power is. We can overthrow Egypt. So Hanee, that really had Echo as the leader, and know that Natu and Lankos are supposed to be underneath Echo, came down and said, no, I'm going to find my friend. Then we'll deal with Natu. We can't even trust. He's supposed to be on that team, and he wanted one thing. So he's down, Hanee, with a whole bunch of them, right? Looking for Echo. Come to find out they must be old friends, on the battlefield. And for Hanee, he just took a higher elevated role as what you would consider as a general or a commander, whatever, all those high titles. Nonetheless, and another member of a tribe of him too, they helped it none to, if I'm saying it all in together, not confusing you, oh, I know you got power. Yeah, I help you. I give you information. That's how some of those tribal leaders were back then. And some of their associates or their advisors, if they can be able to get in there and get some information or what have you, and they can rise to the top, they'll do it. And that's where you get some of those tribal leaders, that some are on the side of the Orions and some are on the side of King Mahlon and the purpose of moving forward and of God in that sense. So anyway, that's where we at. And Hanee ended up finding Echo and bringing him back. It was a risk. It was a big risk, because it seemed like there was a treaty that people of that character or that domain cannot just come into the realm of Tamat. You have to go through one source, and that was Mitsrayim. And so when King Mahlon realized that their seniors came down and tried to re-enter without them knowing, and mama, this falls into in the book, in my book, it is how the pieces fall together, is because that's where the confrontation or the issue that King Mahlon and Queen Hagar had with, my heart just kind of bloomed there, that it all fits, and they was upset with King Daniel for not coming to the palace, announcing his arrival, and how long he's going to be there, he didn't do that. And so that was the first beginning of the book, where it was that confrontation and that problem. And I continued to emphasize that in each of those theatrical type things that I did of the production of MOLIAE. And so here I am just now, at this moment, this is live, that I'm seeing the connection. So when King Mahlon, in the timeline of this podcast, which is before the time of Princess Aamina, realized that Hanee of his rank was entering the domain of Tamat, he knew, okay, number one, they definitely ain't trying to bring, a fruit basket. And it was number one, disrespectful. And number two, it was in a way that you just can't come in and not say anything and tell me why. Well, of course, we know you must get one of your own that shouldn't be here. And it's up to try to overthrow King Mahlon and his other tribal leaders that was on King Mahlon's side. And so he goes with Ezra. Ooh, you better be listening to this. He goes, he meets up, because he was down south, I believe. He's down south fighting Sanel and all these crazy cousins. And King Mahlon returns back to Egypt, Mitsrayim, and he's with Ezra. Now, at the same time, Hani is trying to hurry up because he knows something going to be triggered and it's going to be relayed and exposed that he entered and violated the treaty, that he just can't do that. He has to see the power of who is running the planet. And so King Mahlon is seen with Ezra, and they go into the cave that is to the entrance of one of the pyramids, and he gets what we are calling the star. Fast forward, King Mahlon on a horse trying to catch. Oh my goodness. It's good to just kind of talk about these things, because I create, I produce, and I don't really get a chance to really, take a longer moment to enjoy what I wrote and what I'm sharing with those that are interested in what I have to tell and share with them these stories. So King Mahlon on a horse, man, in military mode. Even at that time now, young General Tatar is like, Mahlon is about to, somebody catch Mahlon, His other comrades or what have you saying, I can't catch Mahlon. Mahlon mad as hell. When you think about it, you will be too, and all the heartache that they do to them is just crazy, right? And he just had enough. He gets off the horse because Ezra is like a priest / teacher in the highest school of thought, the mystics, and anyway, tells Mahlon, this is where they're gonna take root and open up to exit Tamad. So you have to go here. Ezra told him that, so he knew. And he gets off the horse, King Mahlon. Now, even though this is like Egypt and he went down on the south, it's a certain way you have to go to a path to be able to exit out of the atmosphere. He turns around like an Olympic, like, I'm going to keep this in my podcast. I am not going to edit this out. This is raw, live of me sharing this, and I'm talking about it and putting the pieces together, expressing this to you that's listening. This is real, what I'm seeing and what I'm telling y'all. So, and what I wrote, this episode, you have to go take the episode and listen to it, when I actually, recorded it. But this is actually talking about it even more besides the director clips that I released. So that particular episode, I'm going to try to have it in the description. But nonetheless, it's, I think, the beginning of season 3 of my podcast show here. And so I'm describing it as all da-da-da. We have the music. But this is the side notes. Okay, yeah, this one's happening. King Mahlon mad. Like, I can't believe you mean to tell me. First, you caused the battle. Right, you turn my brothers away from me, because back then, even though we say it now it's cool, you my brother, you my sister. No, back then it really was. That's my brother, in the sense of not necessarily a direct bloodline, but in a camaraderie way, of a family way, of a neighbor way, and turned them against me, manipulated, stole, caused a war that really, I wasn't all the way down, but you know what I mean, attacked me and all of that, stressing out my wife. Which happened, I realized that was pregnant. And just by the way, I think when I come out to these stories, guess what? Kareem Hagar is still going to be pregnant. It's been 4 years. And she hasn't had a baby yet because it's before the time of Princess Aamina. Now, I don't know that's going to be Aamina. I know I kind of hint like I think I will. I don't know. But remember, she had a son. Even though the son was younger. And so that. Anyway, we're going to keep moving forward. So you see Mahlon, he's on this beautiful horse. He jumps off that horse right where the position where Ezra said, this is where they're going to enter. Where you have an opportunity to what you want to do. Okay? And King Mahlon makes it at that destination. He gets off that horse. He has, I don't realize at the time when I'm writing this, their star, or at least part of their star, I wrote. He turns around like those, that game where it's like a sun disk, and in the Olympics they turn around, give that speed, and they release almost like a frisbee, but like a sun disk circle, and it goes flying. That's what he did. I remember seeing it like, whoa! Now I see why every time I ask, I gotta read for King Mahlon. He swings it and goes right up into the sky, and I kind of felt that we was back from the perspective of Hani, where he knows that eventually they're gonna be seen, right? And so, but he doesn't realize where one of his comrades, whatever, like, oh no, we see something and we know that's King Mahlon. We see his crown glory, his crown, because back then those crowns was like made out of gold and it's sparkling from the sun that was setting in the horizon, and that's when they started panicking. And he was like, he said, oh, we got the one. And so you see them running and moving and getting to leave that and embark on a smaller type craft to be able to escape. But they know they're not going to escape what's coming at them. And I recalled or what have you, one of his attendants is at the controls, whatever, was saying, it's going to hit us. What we going to do in that sense? And it is part of the star or something like that. And he's like, oh, we definitely got to exit out of here. They do. And it did hit. And that crowd crash. He turns back around. Mahlon, he gets on his horse. We will follow the battle to them. And that's not the exact words I said, but that's pretty much what Mahlon said. And the rest of them that was following him, he had his army, he had the tar with him. He left them. He was so mad. He's like, I'm finna bring that ship down. And you're going to fight me here because you were the reason for the battle. It was the reason why I got hurt. Right, you was the reason why I can't find my good friend. Him and General Khan is so close, right? The general, that's the father of the Tar. They're so close. And at that time, they still don't know what happened to General Khan during the battle. Like he was kidnapped or whatever, we don't know. And that's when his son, now the general, the Tar, was saying, where's the battle now? We're going to, and then Mahlon's like, no, Mahlon basically was telling him, we're going to take it to them. And that's how that ended. So I just had to share that with you because it was such a, nice to kind of relive that part and put all the pieces together and to prove that my book, when I wrote it, it was meant to be, because these stories I'm doing years later is connecting like a puzzle. That's divine. And I'm so grateful and humble and thankful that you experienced that live expression of me putting the pieces together. So at any rate, I'm gonna go ahead and close this out. I already put my little snip in the middle to please follow, share, support, and thank you so much for being a part of this journey. All right, talk to you later.